Hello, everyone. Wow, we have already one reaction for someone who has been waiting for the You Can Too show. So I welcome you with open hands, and I'm glad that you've tuned in. You are watching the You Can Too show live on the Inspire to Achieve Global TV, and we are streaming live with a great lady, Maxine English. She is going to rock the show, and I've been waiting for her to come onto the show and to share her story. And I'm so honored to have her tonight. So prior to focusing on the lady, because it is her show today and a message that she has for the people around the world, I am going to let you know what the You Can To show is all about. The You Can To show is about educating, empowering, encouraging, inspiring, informing, and motivating you to dream, not only to dream, but also to achieve that which you dream about. So it's very important. So whatever we're going to do with my interviewee tonight is about educating. So when you listen to Maxine English, you're going to find things that will educate you, will empower you, will give you a certain authority to do something, to change your life. And you're going to hear things to encourage you, even if you are down. You will find that even in your lows, you will find some highs in your lows, because I believe in the power in the voice of Maxine English, my guest tonight. So be ready, be open minded. I do believe that great women and great men are made by words. And tonight, you are going to hear some powerful words from Maxine English. So we're going to talk about her. We're going to talk about her journey. We're going to talk about her forthcoming book, and she's going to have powerful messages to the ladies and men there who are hurting, who are cornered, who are so down, they don't know what to do. My guest will have something to tell you to encourage you. So thank you for tuning in. Comment, like, and share. And let me go to my guest. Hello, Maxine English.
Hiya, Herman. How you doing?
I can see the smile. How are you tonight?
I'm fantastic. You know me, I'm always amazing and happy and everything's good.
It's lovely to have you. I'm so grateful because I know you're a very, very busy lady.
Thank you for the invite.
You know, to have you on my show is an honor. So thank you so much for accepting my invite to be on the show. And I believe that tonight you are going to bless somebody somewhere. And
I
if you
hope
and
so.
I can touch a life tonight, we have served mankind.
100%.
Yeah. Lovely. So let the audience know who is smiling right now. It's very important for them to know that the lady smiling at them is my special guest. Let them see scrolling on the screen something about you. So the special guest is about Maxine English. She is an award-winning speaker. She is a broadcaster, and she is a mother, and she is also the founder of Unlocking the Fearless You. So that's really something beautiful. We're going to talk about all those things tonight. And with her, we have a very powerful subject we would like to discuss tonight, which is the power of bouncing back. So she has a lot to tell you, and I believe you are going to be blessed. So before we go further, let's go back to the You Can Too show. As you can see, that's where you are right now. Now, Maxine English, could you let the audience know who are you?
Well, I have many different things about me. I'm a mother of two children. I've got a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. I've now also been a single parent for the last year and a half. So not only have I been obviously conquering becoming a single parent, I've also got my party business, which is online. I closed down my shop in August so I could concentrate more on doing what I'm doing today. And not only that, by doing that and putting it online, it was very much that, you know, I could still help people do with their parties and do with their special occasions. But at the same time, you know, I can get my voice heard and I can get people, I can get out there and spread my positivity, because that's more or less what I am. It's all about positiveness.
Yes.
You know, and many years ago, even though I've always been a positive person, I think a lot of fears held me back. And all those fears have been absolutely squashed. And it's all about moving forward. And that's what this year is all about. I mean, I put in January that no matter what, this year was going to be a year for me. It was going to be a year that I move forward. And I put that in my mind. My mindset was, this is what's going to happen. This year is all about change. It's all about moving forward. And it's all about not just helping me out, but it's all about overcoming my fears and also helping other people. And that's what I started to do.
That's really lovely. You have a hi from Robert Brooker.
Hi, Robert.
Hello, Robert. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Lovely. You've spoken about fear, Maxine. Let us know a little bit. How did it come to you, that fear? How did it occur? The fear you were talking about that you have succeeded in overcoming. How did it come to you?
Fear of becoming a single parent again, because it was like, well, now I've got my own business and becoming a single parent. How am I going to cope with both? It was very much that, you know, I've got so much to do with my daughter, because my daughter's got ADHD, she's got Tourette, she's got anxiety disorder. So she's got quite a few things and quite a few needs. It was like, am I going to be able to carry this off, doing the business that I'm doing, as well as, you know, working in the shop, as well as doing everything else I needed to do, and also be a mother? So that was one fear. And it was like, you know, it got to the point that I'm just going to do it. I'm going to have to do it. And it's more or less, you know, putting yourself in the deep end and going, do you know what, I'm just going to have to do it. So rather than holding on to a relationship and going, do you know what, I'm just going to keep that there because it's safe. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut that relationship and I'm going to deal with not having that person, which was a very negative influence around me, and becoming positive and moving forward. But I couldn't do that while I was still in that relationship. So I knew that I had to cut that free. But by doing that, I was then, on the other hand, going to be facing a lot of my fears, which is, how am I going to actually do everything while I'm dealing with this as well? And it was like, I had so many big decisions to do in a space of a few months. And it was like, you know, I've just got to chuck myself in the deep end, and, you know, I've just got to be confident enough to say that I can do this no matter what. It's not the first time, I've done it before, you know. And when I split up with my ex-husband in 2011, you know, I was on my own for a year or so, and it was very much that, you know, it was the first time I'd spent time with the kids. So it was very much that fear was the first time. So it was like, right, I've done this before, it's okay. You know, what is the worst thing that can happen? What is the best thing that can happen? And what is the most likely? So, you know, once you get that mindset sort in your head, no matter what you fear, whether it's a fear of heights, whether it's a fear of spiders, no matter what it is, you know, as long as you've got the right mindset, you can build your confidence up on that. And once you build on that, you can achieve anything. You've just got to make sure you sort of hear out first.
Oh, that's really lovely to hear. So tell us, Maxine, what was the challenge of making that decision to say, okay, I want to move on. There is something that is like a thorn in my back. And unless I remove this thorn, I'm going to be stagnant. So how did you go from that place of fear of, you know, the unknown, and to actually make up your mind, I have to do this?
It's actually quite strange, really, because what happened is I've been doing, obviously, the party supplies for the last 3 years. And having the shop, it was very much that I found out, like, last year, that it was going to be that she was going to extend my shop, and I was going to expand the shop, and then I was going to do kids' parties. And then it come down to, I thought in my head, you know what, do I actually really want to do this? Or do I actually want to extend the party side of it, but not actually go into kids' parties? And it wasn't until I actually sat down and sorted some figures out, and I was like, do you know what, it would actually be a really good idea if I actually went into the adult party side. But it wasn't about selling adult products. It was about helping people in relationships be together and actually be connected, and having a little bit of help doing that if you needed the help. So it was very much, to do that is not only starting the party side up, it was also running courses. And it's like, if I can run courses and stand in front of 30, 40, 50 people and talk about body confidence and talk about relationship confidence and talk about all different things to do with, you know, coming together as a couple, it was very much that, you know, that would be absolutely amazing. I could do that. So I set up Naughty Nights Limited Company. And it was very much that's the avenue that I was going down. And then I sat back and I thought, the biggest problem that I've got is I can't face people. I can do like a 1-to-1 or 1 to 3 or 4 people, but give me a whole crowd of people, I completely shut down. And this come down to a fear of me. When I was 10 years old, hi Nikki, it's nice to see you. I met Nikki actually on Thursday at the Pinewood Studios, and she was all dressed up in all her Halloween gear. So it's nice to see that she's on here.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, going back to what we were talking about, it was very much that, you know, I knew I wanted to do these courses, but I couldn't specifically stand in front of people and go, this is what I'm doing. Even though I've got the confidence, I know what I'm talking about, I just couldn't put it out there. And I was like, I need to do something, because when I was 10 years old, I stood up on stage for the first time and someone completely embarrassed me in front of 500 parents and students, that I just completely shut down everything and said, that's it, I'm never going to speak on stage again. And that was the thing for me. It was like a massive thing that, you know, I can't do this. And I set that in my head, I cannot do this. So I knew that if I wanted to move on, I had to overcome this particular fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
And I met a lady in end of March, beginning of April time, and she was doing her book release, and, you know, she was generally chit-chatting, and I was at like a networking event. And I went and spoke to her afterwards in the car park, and we was talking, and she was saying about her book release and what she was doing, and how many people were going to be there. And she asked me about my story about the domestic violence side. And she said, well, I've got a lady that's actually, you know, doing her book, because there's going to be 4 different books there. And basically with that, is there any way that perhaps, you know, you could do something like that? And I was like, I don't know, I suppose I could. And that was it. That was the end of the conversation. We left it. And then about 3 or 4 weeks later, she started messaging me. And it wasn't until, I'll probably say, the end of May, beginning of June, she sent me a message and said, I'm doing my book release, I'm having a book launch, and I've invited loads of people. Would you mind speaking at the event? And I was like, yeah, of course, no problem. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I got off the phone and I was like, what have I just done? I've just turned around to her and said that I'm actually going to stand up in front of people and put it out there. But because I'd already turned around and said to her that, you know, that I want to get into this, I couldn't then just turn around and go, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you down. That's not me. That's not my kind of person. I can't just let people down. You know, if I want to help people, I don't want to start letting people down. So, you know, even though it was in Reading, which would take me like 3 hours to get to, 3 hours to get back, and I was going to be speaking on stage for 10 minutes. So all these things in my head are thinking, is it going to be worth my time? Shall I do it? If I just don't go, it's only 10 minutes for a 6-hour drive. You know, like your brain does. It's very much that, you know, no matter what you do, hi, Gary, no matter what you do, your brain talks yourself out of it after 5 seconds. And I was like, I put my foot down and I went, do you know what? I am not going to do that. I am going to stick to my word and I'm going to go. And on the way there, I got stuck in traffic. I was running late, and it's like things that I was doing, just things weren't going right. And I was like, no, I'm going to go no matter what. I've got to do it. And I stood up on stage for the first time and actually told my story, but not like when I met you at Yes You Can, like I did the story of that particular day. It was about my life story in general. And it was like, it was quite awkward, but afterwards I was like, I actually done it. I couldn't believe that I stood up on stage, and even though so many things had gone wrong that day, and when it come down to doing the speaking, you know, I'd only done it the night before, and everything was behind me. So every time I was speaking, I had to look at what I was doing. And so it was quite awkward for me, because it was something new, and the more I was doing that, the more embarrassed I was feeling. I knew standing in front of like 30, 40 people that I just had to keep going. No matter how embarrassed I was, I just had to keep going. So that's what I did. And I had a few people come up to me after and said, oh my God, how many times have you done this? I was like, this is my first time. They were like, really? I was like, yeah. And they were like, wow, I can't believe this is the first time you've ever done that. And I had a gentleman come up to me, and it really does touch my heart when he said it. He said to me that my daughter has gone through the same scenario not too long ago. And he was trying to help her through it, but he didn't understand how she was in her mind. And he said, listening to you, I now understand how she is. And because I understand how she is in her mind, is I can help her more. And that touched my heart. And I was like, wow. after a 10-minute conversation with people, or me saying, you know, my story, I can't believe that I touched his heart, and knowing that he's going to be able to help his daughter. So that was the start of it, really. And it was like, no matter what, it is selfish for me not to actually go and tell my story, because I'm stopping helping other people. So I knew that I had to get my voice out there, and I knew that I had to put my voice out there to say to people, like, don't be afraid. You know, you've got to do it, and you just got to put yourself in the deep end. And it's the same as being a single parent. It's the same as working. It's the same as opening a new business. It's the same as public speaking. You've got to put yourself in the deep end. And you know what? If you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because you've just got to keep going, and, you know, you'll be proud of yourself after. You will.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. Now, you tell us, Maxine, how did you feel at the end of your presentation that day? Was there some relief that I didn't know I could do that, but I've done that? Phew.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Yeah. It was going into the presentation, like, my heart was like pressing against my chest so fast and so hard. And I felt beads of sweat, like thinking, you know, I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to trip over my words. I'm not going to say what, you know, every fear that you could possibly imagine. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to humiliate myself. I'm going to look silly. I'm not going to look right in front of the camera. I'm going to trip over my words. You know, they're not going to understand what I'm saying. You know, they're not going to really want to listen to what I've got to say. All these things that are constantly going through in my head. And I sat there, you know, through the whole of everybody's presentations. And that's where I met Rajan as well. He was obviously one of the 12 now. Yeah. But that's where I met Rajan for the first time. I didn't even know it. But he was the first person on stage, and I was the last person on stage. So I sat there for quite a few hours, and all these things were going around in my head. And this is the thing, it's like there were so many things. And after the actual presentation, and all the people were coming up to me saying, wow, you've done an amazing job. And I actually stood there and asked somebody, would you mind doing me a testimonial? And I thought, it's really cheeky, but I do get cheeky sometimes. And 3 people done me testimonials, and listening to their testimonials and what they thought about what they heard from me, that was the changing thing as well, because it wasn't just the people that come up to me, it's people willing to say on camera how I inspired them, how I helped them, how they're now going to reevaluate their relationship, or they're going to look at what they've done in their life and how they're going to change their future of what they're doing. I was like, wow, I can, you know, words are really powerful. Wow. And yeah, it was wow. And my heart was just smiling. My heart was beaming. And it was a relief, you know, that I got through it. It was, I could have sat there and cried after that. I was so proud of myself that I'd done it. And it was like, I can't believe I actually did it. And I can't believe that after I did it, I actually enjoyed it.
You did enjoy it. So if somebody out there is watching you right now, and find themselves struggling in a relationship that is not proving healthy to them, and they are afraid to walk away, to restart, how do you reassure them? Because you've done something very courageous to say, okay, this is not working for me. Instead of me just saying, all right, I have kids, I have this, I am going to move away from this, and I'm gonna restart my life. So what can you tell them to encourage them?
Okay, right. So you normally find is a lot of people that go into relationships, they stay in a relationship for a few reasons. It's the better the devil they know. Oh, I know him or her is this is what they do. You know, they drink too much when we go out, so I compensate for it. Or I know that when they get up in the morning, they're grouchy, so I'll just ignore them, you know, and wait until they get out of it. I know, because I know what they're like as a person, I know that I can work around. And the thing is, it's compensate, you know, you compensate for that person. And what you do, you put up with a lot more than what you would do as a person that you just met, because you've been with them like 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, you've been married 25 years, doesn't matter how long you've been together with somebody, you know, you get used to how someone works. And the thing is what happens is people just get comfortable. And the problem that you find is when that happens, it's very much that, you know, people then are scared to go, do you know what? I don't really want to go this way down in my life. You know, we're falling apart, or we're drifting apart, or we're doing our own directions in life. But it's like, even if somebody's going in that direction, you're going that direction, you keep holding on to you keep holding on as tight as you can, because it's like, if I don't have that person, I'm going to have no one to speak to. I'm going to have no one to have a cuddle with at the end of the night. I'm going to have no one to, ask things if I feel like I'm doing something wrong. It might be something to, I won't have enough money to actually live where I'm living. It could be down to something when it comes down to that, because that's always another big thing as well. And the thing is, it's very much that you've got one life, just one of them. And if you can sit there and think, in 5 years' time, if I'm doing exactly the same as what I'm doing now with the same person, am I going to be happy? Is this what I want for the rest of my life? And the thing is when you sit there and you go, well, actually, I don't actually want this little bit of it, and I don't want this little bit, but we get on really well, and I enjoy it. And you start picking it apart, and a piece of paper and a pen, your pros and your cons of being in a relationship, and pick apart exactly what you like about your relationship and what you don't like. And when it comes to don't likes, it's like, it should be very minimal, and your like should be huge. But if you've got you've got half and half, you've got to sit there and talk to yourself and say, is this what I want in my relationship? Is this how I want my life to be? Do I want to feel love? Do I want to feel affection? But on top of that as well, it also comes down to confidence. You're not confident to make your own decision. You're not confident that you can go to bed and not need a cuddle. And then that comes from self-esteem. Why do you think that way? And then you've got to go back to pinpoint it, where that actually comes from. Does it come from your parents? The fact is that they stayed together even though they didn't want to, and you thought that's what love looked like. Does it go back to, you've seen a friend and they've gone through the same situation, that they've moved on from their life and they've had to move out of their home because they can't afford to live on their own, so they're just putting up with a situation. So and there's a lot of things, it's a lot of material things coming into play, and yes, there's so many things, but that does come down to confidence and self-esteem. You've got to build that up.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your journey from the first presentation you had to Yes You Can Inspire to Achieve, our speakers. That's where I would like to thank you first for your courage and confidence, to choose, to restart your life, and to be bold enough to say, okay, I've gone through this, I am able to bounce back. And you are a prime example that no matter what we go through in life, we can choose to bounce back.
100%.
We can still find some highs in our lows and say, well, it is harsh, but I can still find my happiness again. I can still be successful. And I'm happy you did just that. And I believe that somebody listening to you out there can relate to what you've just said. I can find some solace, can find some encouragement, and choose to make their own mind as well if they think they are stuck. Lovely. So, Yes You Can Inspire to Achieve, our speaker, I found you there. I could see that you were really, really concentrated. You were eager to share your heart out. Tell us, the audience around the world watching right now, how did you decide, or when did you decide, or how did you come to know about the Yes You Can Achieve competition? And when did you decide to come to participate? The floor is
Okay. Right. Well, that journey started realistically in about April time. Me and Brad started speaking, and it's like we were just generally chit-chatting, really, just over text message on Facebook. And even to this day, we both don't know who added each other. We just sort of found each other and we started talking. And it was just literally about everything and anything apart from particularly work. It was just general stuff. And after a particular day, I think it come down to, when was it? Was it about, I think it was around about end of June, beginning of July time. And it was very much that I thought, I've been speaking to this guy and I don't even know what he does. So I went onto his website and obviously onto his Facebook page, and I found out about Yes You Can. So I started looking into it. I started reading about it, and then I looked into the motivational page and I see what other things that he'd done. So I sent him a message and I started speaking about it. And we spoke on the phone for about 90 minutes. We were just chatting away. And we spoke about everything and anything. And he was like, why didn't you come down? And it was a bit late for the July one. By the time we got talking, the July one had already gone, which is the one that you won on. Yeah, so it was very much that he was like, why don't you come to the next one? And I was like, oh, I don't know, I could do. I said, but I work. And it was very much that, you know, I work on a Sunday from 10 till 2 and it's going to be an all day thing. So even then I was like, you know, public speaking, I'm going to be doing it again. It's going to be my second time. I don't know if I can do it, you know. So, you know, and it does come in. And it wasn't probably until about middle of July to the third week of July, I was like, do you know what? I might actually do this, but I don't really know what to talk about. I didn't want to go and do the same thing that I'd done, even though I'd had a good response. I wanted to very much more pinpoint it down to the reasons why I did what I did. And, you know, when my husband decided to try and murder me in front of my children and how I got into business. And so I was like, well, I know I want to write a book. So why didn't I do it like I was writing a book and actually get people to go through what I went through rather than just sitting there listening to a story? I will take them through my journey. So I then sent a message to Brad and said, look, count me in. I'll just do it. He said, right, you need to pay, obviously, for your ticket. Get it done. I was like, okay, no worries. And I left it. And I didn't pay for anything. I left it. And I was writing it all up to make sure I could do it. And as I was writing it, it was very much that a lot more was coming out. A few tears were coming down. And I was like, wow, this is going to be hardcore for me to actually talk about this on the night or on the day. And I thought, well, this has to be said because not only why I'm typing it, it's healing me. If it's healing me by just me typing it, imagine what it's going to be like if I actually speak it to somebody that's going through the same situation that's in the audience. Yeah. So I was like, no, I've got to do it. So I then put my ticket in, text Brad and said, I'm in, tickets bought, it's all done. I will see you on the 4th of August.
Wow. And
I decided, even though that I had my shop was still available until the 27th of October, I closed my shop on the 4th. Sorry, it's in the 5th of August for Bradley on the Sunday. But on the 4th of August, on the Saturday, I closed my shop as in permanently. So I closed my shop on the 4th of August. And on the 5th of August is when I was coming to Yes You Can. Now, I'd written everything down and I had 4 pages and I was reading it. I was trying to absorb it all in. And in my head, I was like, I'm never going to remember all this. But the other side of me, it was like the devil and the angel was like, you're never going to remember this. And my other side was like, yeah, but you've lived it. There's no reason why you're not going to remember it. And I just had to get over that little bit. So when it come down to me actually speaking, I spoke from the heart. I spoke, and it was about taking you through my journey of what happened that day that I woke up thinking it was just a normal day. And that night I went to bed with a broken back, beaten fully, trodden all over, stamped on, you know, black eyes, fat lips, bleeding from the ears, you know, and my daughter turning around saying to me, am I going to be dying? You know, I thought it was going to be my last day on this earth. And the thing is, it was very much that I didn't even get all the way through my story. The 4 pages that I had, I actually got like a page into it. And all of a sudden, it's like the emotions took over. And I might as well just ripped that piece of paper up, chucked it away, because I just did my own thing. And as I was looking around to the audience, you know, I could see people connecting to what I was saying. And I don't know whether you noticed it yourself, that halfway through, it was very much things sort of changed. Then all of a sudden the buzzer went and I was like, oh, I've not even got to the main point. and I knew then that I had a minute to say my story at the end, really, of what had happened. And that's when I literally had to smash it out of the ballpark, because it was like I had to get it in there. And that was basically that. And it was very much, it was more just doing it and getting it out there and seeing people's faces, and the more that they were connecting, the more it brought me out, and the more it brought me out, the more I said. So even some things that I actually said that day, I wasn't expecting to say, but I said them.
It was really moving, because when listening, I really felt touched myself, because I came to realize how much ordeals, people go through in their lives. It can be silent and nobody knows, but the people keep on smiling and going, about their own lives until the person takes the courage to share their heart. And what you did was really amazing, and I'm proud that you even won the first prize. That's really, really beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
now, after winning that prize, I believe that's something new, because you didn't, in fact, yes, you were coming to speak, but I doubt that you planned to win that prize. I'm not saying that you were not confident enough to win that, but it came like a surprise to you.
Yeah,
Now,
well, 100% a surprise.
you're really a surprise.
Yeah.
So now, when you look at yourself right now, how do you feel about yourself now compared to when you made that decision before to move, about your life? How do you feel now? I know you're a very positive person. You like smiling. You just are bubbly, etc. So, how do you feel now? Do you feel can you feel some change? Have you seen some change that your dreams, your aspirations, what you can do, can be done?
Oh, 100%, 100%. It was very much, when you get in your life that you felt that you was meant to do something with your life, but you just didn't know what.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you know that, you're meant to help people, but you don't know how. And you get sort of stuck in that little routine of, that you're meant to be doing something important in life. You're meant to get there, but I can't physically get out of this room, this bubble, or whatever you want to call it, to actually do that. It's like there was this glass wall that I could see what I needed to do, but I couldn't get out and actually physically do it. And Yes You Can gave me the platform to do that.
Wow.
And when I had people come up to me after, even at Yes You Can, there was so many that come up. And I even had one lady that said, I'm actually going to get out of my relationship because I see it going the same way. And I was like, yeah. And from the time that I actually did, I don't know if you, obviously you would have seen it, but from the time that I actually did my speech in the morning, I think it was about 12 o'clock in the morning, like as in midday, that I actually did that, to when we actually did the presentation in the evening and I won out of 28 people, is that the way I was a little bit different. And the reason why, apart from obviously IT, is because I was like, wow, I can't believe that I've just won this. And I was fine until Brad come up to me and he gave me a whisper in my ear and he said a few words, and that was it. I was like, and I just completely broke down of what he said, and it touched my heart so much. and it was just like amazing what he said to me. And the thing is it was like that glass had been broken. I can physically smell the air, I can touch the air and go, do you know what? This is now giving me the platform that I am now a woman on a mission, that I want to change 1 million lives around the world, that if I can touch, a heart here and there, everywhere, to actually go, do you know what? You can change where you are now. Today is not your final destination. Today is another stepping stone. Today is another learning experience to get where you need to get. And whether that's in business, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in working for somebody else, whether that is in your children, no matter what it is in life, every single thing, good or bad, that you go through is a stepping stone. And when I've had negative things in my life, and I don't see them as negative anymore. I just see, I'm obviously something good's coming up because I'm learning something.
Wow.
And that's my mindset now. It is like, whether my car breaks down like it did on Thursday, or whether it's like something's happened with the kids, or whether it's something's happened to me, or no matter what it is, I don't see it as a negative anymore. There's nothing in my life that's a negative. It is all about, I am learning something new because I'm going to have someone come to me about something that I'm going through or something that I've been through that I can help. Or the fact is that I've got something coming up that's going to be positive, that's going to get me through it anyway. There's always sunshine after a storm. So
that's really lovely to know, Maxine. I'm really encouraged myself. I'm really encouraged. I'm just gonna say a word to our viewers. You are watching the You Can Too show with Herman, Thystere, the host, and I have a special guest, Maxine English. She's amazing. She is just somebody that I met for the very first time at an event, a competition that she won, the Yes You Can Inspire to Achieve. Brilliant speaker. She spoke her heart out. I was one of the panelist judges there. I was like, wow, this is a story that somebody somewhere there has to hear. And thank God that she did not stop there. She carried on with her aspirations. And today we are both broadcasting live here, me being the interviewer and her being the interviewee. So whatever you are going through there, as you are listening to Max in English, I want you to take courage. We all have our issues in our lives. We all, bang our heads against the walls. We all, have times where we sigh and then we say, what to use? There is still use. That's why our developing story today with Max in English here is the power of bouncing back. She's a tremendous lady. She chose to bounce back. She did not think that this thing can just happen. It is not something that just happens accidentally. You must choose, I am going to bounce back. And she decided that, and you can watch her here. She's a fantastic speaker. She's a fantastic, positive person. And she is one of the members of a group called the 12, the global empowerment team of the Yes You Can Inspire to Achieve. So yeah, let us know, Maxine, because I believe somebody somewhere is watching you with tears down, rolling down their cheek. They don't know what to do because they've been abused. They've been in a relationship where, violence has been involved. And, it's not just a woman being that victim, it can be a man as well. And they feel like, oh my God, how can I make it again? And it's a big question mark. What can you tell them? Number one, to educate them. Number two, to empower them. Number three, to encourage them. Number four, to inform them. They might not know what you know. And number five, I think, to inspire them, because you breathe some life into them and to motivate them into action, to dream that they can change and they can achieve that success they need. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah. Right. Well, basically, it's very much like when you said about just now, you feel like you're hitting your head for a brick wall. But you know what? If you hit your head constantly over and over again, that brick wall one day will break. And it's the same as like, you've got a piece of concrete. If you keep scraping at it, you'll go further and further in. And it is literally, it's patience, it's time, it's, you've got to build yourself up personally. It's not about just one day going, do you know what, I'm just going to go do it. Because, you're not going to change your mindset in a second. It's very much, that you've got to, it takes time. You've got to know in your head, why do I feel this fear? Why do I feel, not self-confident enough to do what I'm doing? Why, you've got to find out what your why is.
Yeah.
Why you're staying, why you're going to be leaving. When it comes to business, why you want the promotion, why you want to start your own business. No matter what it is, you need to find out your why. That is your most important thing. And then your next important thing is where you're going, what your goal is. Find out your goal. Whether you know when it comes down to relationships that you don't want to be with this person because they've either abused you, you don't get on with them, you argue, they don't get on with your children. No matter what it is, if your goal is in like a year, 2, 3 years time, you don't see yourself with that person, or you're not going to be happy with that person, then you've got to set your goal that you're going to be on your own. So you've got to start putting things into play, and you've got to make sure that you get your mind put into play. So if you know that you're going to struggle with money, then you start putting money aside. If you know that you want a promotion, then you know that you've got to take things to the next level when it comes down to what you're doing with work. If you know you want to start up your own business, then you've got to know that, you've got to make sure you put things into play. When it comes down to, research your market and what you want to do with your business, because there's no point going into anything if you've not got a goal, if you're not knowing where you're going, if you haven't got things behind you, whether it's your mind, whether it's money, whether it's time, whatever it is, you've got to make sure you get everything down. And the best thing to do is to write everything down, even if it comes to bullet points, and it's very much, to make sure you get that mindset. And I know I keep going on about mindset because that is your biggest thing. You're saying all these bullet points about inspiration, about everything else, but to be honest with you, it is about knowing what you want, where you're going, why you're doing it, and how you're going to get there. And sometimes it takes that little bit something extra. It's like, I know what I want you to do when it comes to, public speaking. My why, I want you to do it because I want you to help others. I knew I was destined for something better than sitting in a shop constantly day after day, just helping the very select few. I knew that I wanted to do something to leave my own legacy for my children. And it comes down to that I knew I needed to get there, but I didn't know how. And sometimes you can't always do something on your own. It takes other people. When people say, I'm a self-made millionaire. So is it the fact is that you've never had somebody work with you? Or is it the fact is that someone's never made a phone call for you? Because if they've made that phone call, you've never done it on your own. It takes more than one person. And even if it comes down to you've got a bad relationship and you want to get out and you need to speak to somebody, whether it could be a counsellor, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it doesn't matter who it is. But you know what? If someone's got tears running down their eyes right now, that's the best thing for them, because that hurt is seeping out, all that pain is going, and what they're doing by crying is they're healing, and they just don't know that yet. They're going through this emotional, because if they didn't want to change, they wouldn't be crying. If they didn't want to heal, they wouldn't be crying. So that they're obviously they're thinking about it. Their mind is thinking about it. And the thing is, the mind keeps us safe. The mind keeps us, look, this is safe. This is good where we are. We'll stay where we are. It's not until you actually, turn and put yourself out there, the brain goes, what are you doing? You're absolutely mad. How can you do this? And you've got to ignore that subconsciousness of saying, you can't do this, you can't do it, because your brain is set there to keep you safe. But you've got to go with your gut and you've got to go with your heart.
That's love. I have a quote here I would like to read to you, and I want you to let the audience, know about your take on this. Here is the quote. He says, no matter how far life pushes you down, no matter how much you hurt, you can always bounce back. And this quote is from Cheryl Swoops. She is an American athlete. What is your take about that, love?
Absolutely brilliant. That's exactly that. I mean, if you've done it before in your life, a lot of people go, yeah, but I've never done it before. Yes, you have. When you started walking, you didn't take one step, fall down and just stay there. You got up again and you started walking. You didn't start as a baby eating baby food and then sit there and choke on a bit of, a carrot or something and go, I'm never eating food again. What you did was change what you did slightly, and then you chewed it and you swallowed. You fell on the floor, you held on to something a little bit more stable and you walked again. When it comes down to writing, we didn't write a sentence and it didn't make sense, so we never wrote again. We learned and we taught ourselves that by writing this sentence, we can actually put our words out there. Now I can write another sentence and I can do it. Your hardest step is your first one. Once you get over that first step in anything in your life, everything else becomes easy. So when it comes to bouncing back, just make sure that you're willing to go the distance, because there is no point, because what will happen is if you take that first step and then retract it, then later on, like months, years down the line, you go, I'll take this first step again and retract it. You're hurting your self-esteem, you're hurting your confidence, because you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough to do this, I'm not good enough to move forward. And all it does is make it worse for you in the long run. So you've got to just literally just do it. Just do it. That's all it's about. It's just literally getting there, knowing what you want, knowing where you're going, and just moving forward and just getting there. Just do it.
That's lovely. That's lovely to hear. Another one, because it is your show. I told you, Maxine, it's all about you today, because you have an amazing story. You have an amazing voice. I want people out there to know that you did it, they can do it too, because this is the aim of our show. The show is You Can Too Show. So whatever Maxine succeeded to do, if you decided the same, you can do what she did and make your life count. So this is the last quote I'm going to put to you. It's from General, George Patton of the US, who was born in 1885 and died in 1945. He said, success is how high you bounce back when you hit bottom. What is your take?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same sort of thing. It's very much that sometimes people have to hit rock bottom. But once they're there, they can't go any further, But at the end of the day, rock bottom is dead, right? And that's one thing you don't want to be, because no matter how bad things in life, if you're at rock bottom and you've got this rock at the bottom and you can't go any further, there's only one way, and that is up. You can't go any further. You should only go up. And the thing is, it's very much that, you know, bouncing back, if you're going to bounce back, be the best that you can possibly be in everything that you choose. I am no special, not any more special, I should say, than anybody else. You know, I have my off days like everybody else does. You know, I have, you know, all right, they don't last for the whole day, but it's very much that I do have my off days, and the same as everybody else does. But it's not about how you go into it, it's how you come out of it.
Wow.
And that's the thing. It's about how much you bounce back, because if you're going to do it 100%, and do it with heart, do it with soul, and do it with energy. Because if you don't, you'll sit there and go, yeah, it was all right. It doesn't get you anywhere.
That's really lovely to know. Thank you so much, Maxine. That's really, I believe that somebody watching there is being encouraged, you know, to act. Because it doesn't matter how much how many dreams you may have, or how many aspirations if you don't act, nothing will ever happen. And looking at you and listening to your story, it shows that if we decide change can happen. And that's
you've got to take action.
So briefly, tell us about your forthcoming book, because you went from, you know, having a very rough patch and to becoming a writer. Tell us.
Well, I've always wanted to write my own book, and the reason being, I mean, I've had a lot of adversity in my life, a lot more than most people would ever imagine. It's not until you read my book that you'd actually see how much. Okay. And I could imagine. I mean, even when I was writing it myself, I was like, wow, I'm still here. You know, after everything that I've gone through, I'm still here. And I'm very positive. And, you know, when I write it all down of all the things that have happened to me, it was very much that, it was just like, wow, I can't believe even myself that I've actually gone through that amount of stuff. Yeah. So what I decided to do, it wasn't just about just writing my book. It wasn't just about telling a story. I wanted you to go on a journey with me, a bit like the day that we met. But also, I wanted to help others. So it wasn't just about writing a book, going, there you go, guys, there's my life. So what I've done is you've got my thoughts and feelings in there and my tips. So it's very much that I will write a section, and if I've gone through some adversity in that section, it was very much that I put, this is how I overcome it. This is how I thought about it at the time. This is how I think about it now. This is in hindsight, if I would have done it this way, it would have turned out better, or it would have turned out slightly different. Or the fact is, this is what you should do in this situation to overcome what you're doing now. Wow. So, and that goes all the way through the book.
Wow. Wow. That's really lovely, lovely. How long did it take you to write the book?
I started the book in June. And I was just, I was on like 2 or 3 chapters. And I was just slowly doing a couple of pages here and there. And then it wasn't until that I spoke to Brad that it was like, Max, you've got to get your book out there. I want to see it. I want to get it done. I want to make sure you're a published author. And I was like, right, okay. So it was probably around about the 2nd week of August. I actually gone, right, okay, from 2 chapters, I need to carry on. And then from there, it took me until the end of September. So probably around about 2 months. Wow. And obviously that's me sorting the kids out and doing business and shutting the shop down, and because obviously I had to do all that as well and go into different events and stuff like that. So, you know, not constantly on it, just like as a steady pace. Yeah, probably around about 2 months from the time that I've physically gone, right, that's when I need to do it.
So it can be done.
100%. And it probably could have been done quicker than that. I'll probably get it done in like 5 to 6 weeks. It's just the fact is, you know, being a single parent, and it's like I only got 2 or 3 hours in the evening to do it. Yeah. Like once my daughter had gone to bed. And then it was like, you know, when you're too tired to write, it's not worth writing. But at the same time, it's like I get my burst of energy in the evening. Yeah. So it was very much that sometimes I'll even do an all-nighter and I'll be absolutely shattered the next day. Wow. But yeah, it was only happened twice. So it was very much, I got so engrossed in what I was doing. And I was writing everything that I was writing. It was healing me at the same time. And that's the amazing thing as well, is when you write a book, if it's about yourself, it is an amazing healing process. Wow, that's true. and yeah, and I actually realised a few things while doing it, and even that, and I was like, do you know what? I'm so proud that I've done it. It's amazing. I'm so looking forward to seeing it in print. And
for you, that's really amazing story. If you are a lady there and you have stumbled into this show called the You Can Too Show, and I have this amazing lady as my special guest tonight by the name of Maxine English. She's gone through a lot in her life, but she decided to speak up about it. And while speaking up about it, she even won a speaker's trophy. She said it was not enough. She wrote a book about that. She said it was not enough. She decided to become a live stream broadcaster. And she's doing great. She has interviewed great men. And my son loves Power Rangers, and I found out that you interviewed a guy. It's such amazing, so far your journey is just encouraging, Maxine. It's really encouraging. You know what? In my show, I usually encourage people to read, because reading is powerful. And I thank God that your book is really being published, I think in November here. The book is going to be out here. Yeah, and people are going to have a chance to read and to relate to your story. And this week, on our show, I am just going to present to our viewers the book that I've chosen for them. I don't know if you can see properly, which is Golden Voice by Ted Williams. I believe that many people have seen Ted Williams on YouTube. This guy with a golden radio voice. He was on the street begging, and one day somebody was passing by with a camera and asked him to mimic a radio voice. And he spoke like a radio DJ. And that guy put that video clip on YouTube, and people got interested into this man who was in the street since 1987. So he was delivered from the street in January the 4th of January 2011. So this man from 1987 to 2011 was a beggar in the streets, but today a writer. Just like Maxine said, it can be changed if you decide to change it. It is all within your reach. You must decide. And if you don't want that KFC bucket of chicken fry, you can starve yourself a little bit and get yourself this book on Amazon. Less than £10. It will bless you. It is really blessing me. And Maxine has a book coming, and I will invite her again, and we're going to have a special, broadcast talking about that book, because I want a lot of women out there who are abused, but they don't have the strength of character to say, I've had it enough, I am moving on. But thank God we have ladies like Maxine who said, I've had it enough, I'm going my way, I'm going to do it, I'm special, I have greatness within me, and I am a phenomenon. Aren't you a phenomenon, lady?
100%.
You are lovely. So I'm so grateful, to have had you on this show, Maxine. And I would like to remind, the audience that my special guest, Maxine English, is an award-winning speaker. She's a live stream broadcaster. She's a motivational speaker, and she's the founder of Unlock the Fearless You. Some people have such a great man within, a great woman within, but they never express that woman out or that man out. And the show that was founded by Maxine is about helping you to see within yourself and say, all right, I've had enough to see me powerless while I have power, and I'm going to choose the power to bounce back. And Maxine did that, and that's why she is on my show, because she couldn't be here if she didn't have something to share. So thank you, Maxine, for coming on my show and helping people there, to listen to your voice, because that's a healing voice tonight. So thank you so much for giving us a chance. So tell us, do you have something to add up to what you said, especially to somebody hurting, to somebody who has many questions and who is asking themselves the question, can I bounce back? What can you tell them?
Wow. read my book to start with. It's called Broken, Abused and Left for Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I done it up until what happened to me in 2011. My second book that I'm doing now is going to be how I transformed myself from being that person to going into business. So that was what my second book will be about. And at the end of the day, by doing that, it starts with you. It starts with you, your heart, your soul, your gut, and your mindset. And nobody can tell you to do something like an alcoholic or a drug addict or nothing like that. You know, no matter what you do in your life, unless you are prepared to change and to take action, then, you know, you're just going to stay where you are. So it all starts with you.
She said it all starts with you. If you don't want to change, you will remain the same person. If you don't want to break through, you will never have that breakthrough. You will remain the same person, stagnant, not moving forward. Maxine English said yes to the You Can Do show, and she is a lady with a busy program. I know it's a busy schedule, but she said, I have a story. I want to reach out to somebody. Many people have tuned in tonight. Many people will tune in after. To all of you who will be able to listen to this amazing lady, one advice from the You Can Do show is act. If you don't act, life will act on your behalf. And sometimes when life acts on your behalf, it is very harsh. Because when you rock that chair in that nursing home at age 80, you will say, I should have, but it will be too late. Now that you have the time, touch your dream and pull the right string. The dream can be coming to you. The dream can be talking to you. It was a plum pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege to host you on my show, Maxine. You're a very, very great lady, and I know you are going places. And because you have a heart to help, and because you have that big heart to help people. I know it's not going to be just people on a one-to-one basis. It's going to be corporations, you know, families and communities, both here in the United Kingdom and around the world. I really wish you the best of lucks wherever you go. Stand and speak for those ladies. Stand and speak for those men. Stand and speak for those kids, because from, 50 to 60 or 70 years from now, you and I might not be here. But this platform, electronic platform on social media, will be left as a legacy. Somebody will listen to it and say, wow, thank God that Maxine spoke out. So thank you for coming on my show. Bless you. And you are a star. Thank you for honoring the You Can Do show. You are amazing. We bless you. And we are really eager to receive you again on our show with your book, you know, to relate to other people who are in pain and to tell them, if I can write my pain down, you can be healed.
Even if you decide not to publish a book, if you write it down and get it out, you will get it. Same as crying, you get it out. That's what it's about.
Thank you so much, Maxine. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Herman Thystere with the You Can Do show, receiving Maxine English, an award-winning speaker. Oh my God, you must be in the presence of this lady to hear how she speaks from her heart. I was blessed, and I couldn't help but have her on my show. Until I had her in my show, I was restless. So now I am calm now, because she came and she has shared her story. Thank you so much for everyone who has tuned in. I've seen many people commenting, from Robert Brooker, you know, all the like. Thank you so much, all your comments. You're coming, you know, on my show to participate is not taken lightly. I love you guys. We love you, Maxine and I. And the reason why we are doing this job is because we want to reach out there. And we want to bring all the people that are hurting, we want to bring them back home. By home, we mean a place where they are educated, empowered, encouraged, informed, inspired, and motivated to dream, but also to achieve that which they dream. Thanking you so much. Maxine, I say goodbye, and we will meet very soon, because we have great events coming, because I'm part of the wonderful group that we are part as well. And to all of you who are hurting, The healing is possible, because if Maxine English could be healed, you too could be healed. Thank you for tuning in. I shall see you next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another show, the You Can Do Show. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.